Hello, welcome to Actual Spinster. I watched Madchen in uniform last night. I feel like it impacted my choice of clothing today. My name is Anna Marie, and today I'm going to talk about where to start with Discworld. I woke up today and I got a comment from Jennifer Loves Books saying that she'd never read a Discworld novel, or any Terry Pratchett, I think. And it just got me thinking, and like I had kind of been planning in February to make a kind of Discworld progress update video, but to be honest, I don't think I've I don't think it's changed enough since the last video I made last year about kind of my Discworld progress. But clearly I want to talk about Discworld, so I thought I would just make like my opinion on like where to start, which I know there's quite a lot of content out there, but this is my opinion. Discworld is Terry Pratchett's like 41 book series, all set in the same world. There's a giant turtle or tortoise. I think it's a turtle, right? Suddenly doubting myself. And on the back of that turtle are 4 elephants, and they're carrying the world. So I actually have this lovely little map of Discworld. It's from 1995, so it's not like full of everything. And I've been trying to figure out where exactly the chalk would be, but anyway, that's neither here nor there right now. So there is this map, which I guess isn't that helpful right now, but I wanted to show it so you get like a bit of a sense of the world. The main kind of area for me that I know well because of the books of the series I've read is the Ramtops, which is here, and Lanka especially, because this is where the Witches book series is often set. So yeah, like I said, there's 41 books, and then within those 41 there are 5 to 6 series, like sub-series. Yeah, there's 5 according to like Terry Pratchett's website, but I think people categorize another section of them altogether. So there's the like Rincewind and the Wizard series, which is from the beginning. So this is the first book, The Colour of Magic. There's like the Witches series, which to some degree includes Equal Rights, which is one of the third book. But yeah, I would say it more so begins with Weird Sisters. There's like the Death sub-series, which begins with Mort. Death is a wonderful character and like shows up throughout, understandably. There's Sam Vimes and the City Watch series, which is starting with this one, Guards. So this is sort of where there's some like differences. So this is Moving Pictures, which is sort of the first in like an Industrial Revolution series, which includes Going Postal with Moise von Lipwig, who also appears in 2 others, I think. But yeah, on Terry Pratchett's website, he's kind of categorized separately, so those 3 that he's in. And then there's no mention of the Industrial Revolution series. And then there's the Tiffany Aching series. This is actually the second book in the series, because I don't think I have a physical copy of The Wee Free Men around, but The Wee Free Men is the first one in that series. And this series is for like children, like it's a kids book series. And there are also a few of them that are like specifically standalone within the series, so like Pyramids and Small Gods. A major thing is that Terry Pratchett loves puns, so like a lot of his like jokes and like he's very funny, and like a lot of that is about language. And yeah, I think like if you're a person who thinks puns are stupid, then you probably won't enjoy his work. I think what's also great about his work is that like the comedy doesn't feel like it's cruel. It feels like it's got real heart to it. I wouldn't want to defend every single representational choice that he makes in his novels about loads of people, but I would say that it does feel like at its core it's about care and kindness and comedy as that expression, as opposed to making people feel othered or weird. It's like everybody's weird, so let's have fun with that, you know? And it is, especially in the beginning, very like exaggerated and heightened, because it's also playing around with the tropes of fantasy. It's like a mocking or like a satire of fantasy too, so there's this self-awareness there as well. I got a bit distracted. If you're interested in starting with Discworld, I think I'm going to show you like maybe 5 or so beginning points depending on what you're looking for, what you're interested in, and also to some degree like if you think you're just going to read more of the series, or if you're more just like looking to check it out but you don't think it will be necessarily your kind of thing. So I think I'm going to do my recommendations in the order that they were published, but I'm not suggesting that you have to read this that way, although one of them is that you do that. So the first suggestion is you pick up The Colour of Magic and you begin right at the beginning. I do recommend reading The Colour of Magic and then The Light Fantastic, which is the second one, fairly quickly. But I think starting with The Colour of Magic, like, it's solid. Like, you know, it's the very beginning, it's like getting a grip on the magic, and then also like it is very cartoonish. But again, that's something that like dissipates a little bit more throughout the series. And this is just about like a tourist visiting Discworld, or maybe it's visiting Ankh-Morpork, which is like this major city in Discworld, and being guided by this like very inept wizard called Rincewind, and the adventures they get up to. I'm just gonna see if I can quickly get my map out to show you where Ankh-Morpork is. I feel like this is such a self-indulgent video, I'm sorry. It's like there. Can you see that? Probably no, but maybe that helped. So yeah, that's The Colour Magic. The next place to start is the Death series, and this is the first book in the Death series, which is Mort. It's the 4th book in the series. This is a very sweet book about Mort, who needs like a job, needs to become an apprentice to someone, so he becomes apprentice to Death. Yeah, it's very sweet. Mort's very cute. Yeah, like I said, I love Death. I think he's a great character. He speaks all in capitals, like, you know, when he's appearing, because all of his dialogue appears in capital letters. So yeah, there's that one. Another place to start is Weird Sisters, which is the first or second in the Witches series, which I think is really fantastic. I think it's so funny, and I love the witches as characters, and unlike in Equal Rights, which does have Granny Weatherwax, who appears in Weird Sisters, she's much more developed in Weird Sisters, and she's also just like surrounded by more witches, and I think it's a well, in my opinion, it's a more fun story. There's a lot of like playing around. It's sort of like a Macbeth retelling, so it's very funny, and it's also tongue-in-cheek, and it's also about theatre itself and mind tricks, which is sort of classic witchcraft. Witchcraft in Terry Pratchett isn't kind of like magic, it's just kind of like saving people's lives. Whereas like wizards are quite like highfalutin, theory, pompous magic. Another pathway to go through is the Tiffany Aching series, which is in some way connected to the Witches series, because it does have it's about witching, and it's also got some characters who show up in the Witches series in the Tiffany Aching series, namely Granny Weatherwax and Nanny Ogg. But Tiffany Aching is like in a kids book series, and Tiffany Aching is like, actually I think she might be 11 or something, maybe younger than that, 10, in The Wee Free Men, and we watch as she grows up and becomes a witch herself. And The Wee Free Men is just kind of like about learning a little bit more about herself and witchcraft itself, and having to go to Fairyland to rescue her brother, who has been like abducted there. And yeah, it's a really wonderful series. There's a lot about kind of anger and growing up and work and caring, and I personally really love that series. And I think if you are like maybe intimidated by Discworld novels, starting with the like kids version of them might be a nice place to start. The one hesitancy I would say is that obviously like I said, the witches from the rest of the Witches series do show up in it sometimes. It's happening after the events of the Witches series, so you might get spoiled for some of those older books. But with like spoilers in Discworld, to be honest, I always kind of feel like it doesn't matter so much. Like things are like sometimes referenced in older books and like whatever, and it just sort of like, or in newer books I mean, but like I don't think it totally matters, you know, because you are reading for plot. Like plot is important, and it is very like heavily plotted, I would say, partially because it's kind of like playing around with this like fantastical setting and world, but it's also that like it's just enjoyment that you're reading them for. Or maybe that's just me, but like I feel like a lot of the time like I'm delighted by some of the plot choices, and sometimes I don't really mind. I'm just there for the ride and I'm having a lot of fun. My final specific recommendation is Going Postal, which is the 33rd book in the series, I believe, and this is a book about a character called Moise von Lipwig, who is tasked with setting up a post office in Ankh-Morpork. It's really wonderful if you like stuff about post and letters. Like, who doesn't? And isn't it so fun to like see like the development of the like letter business? I don't know. I think Going Postal also like is a good kind of example of like the comedic elements of Discworld. I also personally find it comforting, but that might be because I've listened to it a lot. And there are like a couple like TV films and stuff of Discworld. A couple of them have really cute cameos from Terry Pratchett into, which is very enjoyable. I wouldn't like wholesale recommend any of them, but I do think some of them are fun if you're you know, if you want to like check those out too. And then my final kind of recommendation for you is to choose a Discworld book that you're interested in reading. If you hear that Small Gods is about like religion and you're like, oh, that sounds interesting, then pick up Small Gods. If you're like, oh, I love vampire books, then you could pick up a vampire one like Carpe Jugulum. If you're like, wow, it sounds really fun to read about death when he becomes human, you could read Reaper Man. If you're like, oh my gosh, I love elephants so much, you could read The Fifth Elephant. I haven't read this one yet, can you tell? I do love elephants though. If you want to read one with a dragon in, you could read Guards. If you like opera, you could read Masquerade. If you're interested in like the technological development of cinema, you could read Moving Pictures. Now I really want to read this one. I hope that kind of helps. I think like obviously 41 books is a lot of books. Like that's totally fair to be like, wow, that's a lot. But I think once you get down to it, like it's really about having a nice time. I'm like, wow, Terry Pratchett just wants us all to have fun. Cool. Let me know what you think. If you have read a lot of Discworld, let me know what you think about what I just said about it. If you haven't but you're interested in, let me know if I've tempted you. I hope you have a nice day when you're watching this, and I will talk to you when I next talk to you. Bye!